Yeah, it's not the main.
The light switch.
It's working. Yeah, we're working. Oh, that's nice. It's perfect. Yay. Oh, looks really nice.
Let's just turn off these lights up here and turn on the lights in the back. We don't need it to be too dark in here. Different pockets of the room are dark. So turn on the back lights. Somebody from that switch right there. Oh no, turn the front ones off. That's the back. That's the back. I'm in the front. There we go. Okay.
Wait, no, that's kind of. Wait, but then it's dark.
Oh, I didn't realize that was there ahead of. I got you, Danielle. I didn't realize that was behind me. Thank you. I didn't know that was. I didn't know that was me. I didn't know that was there. I thought they came in sets. Ella, that doesn't matter. You're good. We're good. Okay. All right. And meanwhile, I think we've been recording all of that busyness. Okay. So anyway, so what's going to happen today is we're going to go over even, odd, and neither functions. Okay, and I'll tell you something ironic that happened last night that had to do with what we talked about last class. It's kind of weird that it happened. On Tuesday of next week, the first thing we'll do in class on Tuesday is we will have a quick quiz that's based on the worksheet you did for homework today. So it's based on, it will look like that. I'll just draw new pictures, okay? So what the quiz will be, it'll be based on the homework that you did for today, and I will probably give you 2 graphs to complete, one even and one odd, okay? So it'll look a lot like your last 8 problems. Did everybody get what I'm saying? Okay. So that's one thing I talked about. The second thing is if we have time later in the class, we're going to go back to the analyze function big worksheet that I was trying to read the answers off really fast in the last class. Okay? If we go over that analyze the function worksheet slowly and you've got all your questions answered, if we have time, we'll do what I call a pairs quiz that can be very, very valuable. You'll work with a partner, and you'll get to talk about your quiz and go, what do you think about this? What do you think the maximum is? What do you think the minimum is? Where do you think it's increasing? Where do you think it's decreasing? If you make 100 on that quiz, if we even have time to do it, if this happens, if you make 100 on that quiz today, I will go write 100 in my grade book, and you don't have to ever worry about it, analyze the graph quiz. If you don't make 100 on it, since you didn't study for it today, it wouldn't be fair for me to quiz you on it. So it's got a safety net. It's not really optional. But if you don't make 100 on it, you and I will come to an agreement of how you can retake it after you get a chance to study the one we did in class. It may not be that we spend class time to do it because a few people will make 100, but it could be that you come by for 5 minutes by my desk sometime next week. There won't be any huge deadline. You just want to do it before the next test so that that's a big part of the next test, okay? So I know that may sound confusing, but just trust me, I will lay the groundwork as we go and you'll be fine, okay? All right, now I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that's very helpful with graphs today. First of all, I pulled up something called an ellipse, okay? Wouldn't we all agree that all of these graphs have symmetry? Gabby brought it up in the last class. These definitely have symmetry. But first of all, these are not even functions, are they? Okay, but if it was a function, let's look at this one. This one's actually a circle and not an ellipse. What kind of symmetry would it have? Sarah? Even. Sarah's right. Isn't it symmetric to the y-axis? It's just that Sarah and I could not call it an even function, though, could we? But it's an even graph. And what we're super studying, which maybe didn't clue into, which is fine, because I just asked you to try on your homework, and I love the good, honest effort you did. You'll gain a lot from that. I heard some of the AP Physics students this morning, AP Stat students this morning working with Mr. Hill. They have a test today, and so they're really wanting to understand what's going on. And one of the AP students that also have an AP calculus, she's usually like a 98, 99 straight A student. And this year she said, we share a lot of the same students, so I don't think you can narrow down who said this. But she's like, well, my grades are like in the 80s now. I just keep making mistakes. And I know that nothing has happened to her brain, right? She still has the same brain that she had before. And Mr. Hill said to her, he said, you want those mistakes to happen in homework and in class. That's why I always talk. Remember I've said earlier in the year, really do your homework? Like you're really thinking about your homework. You're processing it. And then when you make a mistake, like a few of y'all really tried your homework. And when I pointed out to you what you maybe did incorrectly, it made a whole lot of sense. Like, oh, I can fix that. As opposed to just haphazardly doing your homework so you can call it done. But his point is, we want you to make the mistakes before we're grading. Because his point to her was, if you're really, really doing your homework the way that we plan for you to do, it's not just drill. You're really sitting at home and you're thinking about it and you make a mistake. You come to class, it's so much easier to correct the mistake. What if you were trying to teach me a dance, okay? And you're like, so Miss Lazari, do you have that dance down yet? Because you know you're going to have to do it in front of the student body, like in the next meeting on day 5, which is not going to happen, okay? But I used to be on one of those dance teams, like in the South, you know, like a whole lot of football teams in the South are schools. We have like cheerleaders and football teams. They also have them in the North, but anyway, you know, like they have these dance teams, almost like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders that like go out and dance like during halftime. I was one of those, but I wore a lot. In high school, we wore a lot more clothes than that. But anyway, be that as it may, I did learn dances to dance during halftime. Here's a cool thing. Anybody a football fan? Do you know what Monday Night Football is?
Yeah.
Okay. So then when I graduated, the first school I taught in, I was the dance team sponsor, like moderator of the dance team at the school. They got invited to perform on Monday Night Football in the Superdome where the Jets played the New Orleans Saints. And we actually were on Monday Night Football. It was awesome. Yeah, it was really cool. So anyway, they really wanted their dance to be good, so they practiced. Okay. So that was too much information. So anyway, suppose that Susan has taught me this dance, and I come to Susan and I go, I don't understand the dance. I don't understand the part where I have to turn around and do this, that, or the other thing. She cannot help me until she actually sees me do what I practiced. Y'all see, we could talk about it all day long. Just don't understand that part. But with Susan, understand where I'm getting stuck. So she watches me dance, and she sees, oh, I see what you're doing wrong. You're supposed to turn here and not there. You're supposed to turn on beat 3 and not 4. But y'all see that I knew I had practiced at home and I messed up? Then she can make a correction because then it makes sense to me and then I can get it right before I have to do it in front of everybody, okay? So your test, you don't want to make those mistakes on test day. You want to make them ahead of time. All right, so anyway, watch this, girls. This will be very eye-opening. So I think of a Sarah that said it has even symmetry. It's just not a function. We're studying functions right now. That's why I wouldn't give you something like this right now. But it is even in that what is on the right-hand side is also on the left-hand side. Even is symmetric to the y axis. I didn't realize I was moving it. Even is symmetric, not to the x-axis. Watch this, everybody. If I have this, and I make it symmetric to the x-axis, it would do this, and would it be a function anymore? No. So we're studying functions, okay? But I brought this up for a reason, because some people are drawing pictures like this or like this, okay? So I give you a piece of a thing, and then you complete it. Here's what I would argue, is that she's right, it's even, but technically doesn't it have x-axis symmetry also? Yeah. Did y'all see that? Doesn't it have x-axis symmetry also? Yes. And for that matter, I could say it's odd. Is this pulled through the origin and pops out over here? Yeah. Did y'all see it also has what we call odd symmetry? So it had all 3. But it wasn't even a function anyway. So that's what I wanted to say. Like, we're going to stop and say, You're going to make this a function, an even function, an odd function, or possibly it's neither, okay? And lots of things are neither. There's a lot of graphs that are out there in the world like this. That definitely has symmetry, right?
Can I turn off the heat?
Please. That definitely has symmetry, but can I say it's even or odd? It's not symmetric to the y-axis. It's not symmetric to the origin. Okay?
So it's neither.
So that would be a neither. All right, Susan, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Now, oh, Daniela, maybe that was with the hand I saw.
If a function passes the vertical line test, does that mean it's always going to be even?
No, this one passes the vertical line test right here. I mean, granted, I drew it kind of tilted, but do you see that passes the vertical line test? So there's this big, huge thing of functions. Okay? Tons of them are neither. This one's a neither. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay? But if it's even function, then I know that it's not just symmetric. If it's even, I know it's symmetric to the y-axis. Do you see that the black and the yellow are both functions? Okay? They look identical. This one is a function, the yellow one, but I couldn't say it's even. Even is reserved for it will fold over itself on the y-axis. Even is, watch this, girls. Everybody watch. I've done this with a few of y'all over the past few days. If I go out, let's say 2, and then I go back 1, 2, shouldn't I see the same thing both times if it's evenly dispersed? Yeah. This one might have something at 6 and 4 that's kind of cute, but that's not an even function. It has symmetry, but I can't call it even unless it's symmetric to the y-axis. So this one's a function. Tons of functions like this one. Here's another one. You'll see all sorts of things like this in algebra. Probably has some symmetry. It looks like this dot might show up over here again. Okay? That is a function. But would it be even, odd, or neither?
Odd. Neither.
Neither.
Oh, it could be.
If it's odd, what's over here and up here would be over here and down here. I don't see this like little bumpy thing going on over here. Do y'all see what I mean? That's neither. That's okay. That's a neither function. All right? Did y'all see that's neither? All right, now, something that actually happened that I spoke about last time, unfortunately, to one of my family members. I felt kind of bad when I heard this. Last night we were going over to have dinner with both my sons happen to live in New York. We all moved here from different locations at different times in our lives, but for some reason we're all here right now. It's very weird. I moved here from Memphis. My younger son moved here from Arkansas after he graduated from college. But anyway, we were going to eat with my older son, and he's married, so we were going to eat with my older son and his wife. And I was getting on the C train. They live in Union City, and I was saying, "Hey, I'm on my way." He goes, "Wait a minute, Robin feels sick, and her throat hurts really bad, and she went to get a strep test." So, do y'all remember I kind of talked about that the other day? Okay, you can have a lot of sore throats, but it might just be a cold. It might be allergies. It might be a sinus infection that's going. Or you might have strep and you need an antibiotic or you weren't going to get well. Her test was positive, so poor thing, she's got strep throat, but at least she's going to be on medicine. But y'all see what I mean? There's lots of sore throats. There's lots of functions. Okay? But you just got a cold and you're going to get over it. Or you've got allergies and you're going to take your allergy medicine. Or you yelled really loud at a volleyball game and your throat hurts. But y'all see how some people have it's special, in a bad way, they've got strep throat. Y'all see the difference? Okay. All right, so everybody, I can't believe I bring this up again after what happened in the last class, but everybody whose stomach feels kind of funny, and they're like, "Ooh, I feel like I have morning sickness." Every one of them is not pregnant, right? Okay, you could just be queasy from something you ate the night before. All right? So you could go, "I have a stomach ache, I have a stomach ache, I have a stomach ache, but am I pregnant?" that, boy, if some tour comes by or somebody opens the door, they think I'm announcing something to you. I'm not. But anyway, it's reserved to just talk about something that is happened, okay? So an even function, there's lots of things that have symmetry. But if it's an even function, it has to be symmetric to the y-axis. So let's write that down. An even function there's two key words here, and there's only two words there, okay? Even and function. Even means it's evenly distributed. It's symmetric to the y-axis. And it doesn't even have to touch the y-axis. Like, for instance, if I have a graph like this that goes off to infinity, do you see that would be an example of an even function? Imagine a piece of paper that you pick up like this and fold it on the y, the vertical axis. If it touches itself on both sides, it's even. Okay? Now, what's coming today is the true test will be this. Suppose I fill in 1 and get 2. Then I should also be able to fill in -1 and also get 2. Do you see you're going to test and see if it's in the exact same location? So if I go out here and I get 1, I go back here and I get 1. You're going out and up or out and down. It doesn't have to be up. Some of yours are in the negatives. Okay? That's an even function. It's symmetric to the y-axis. An odd function, can y'all see that red okay? Odd function is symmetric to the origin, and they're opposites. Notice how much I'm using this letter O in my notes. An odd function is all about opposites and is symmetric to the origin. So on an even function, the y-axis, this line, is like a machine. It's a symmetric machine. So it's like I have this graph, I feed it in the machine, and it pops out over here. Do y'all see what I mean? Now let's do an odd one, and then after that, Susan, I'll get your question in just a minute. Now let me take this one. And let's make it odd, okay? It's going to go through the odd. It's going to go through the origin because it's an odd graph and it's all about opposites. All these O's are happening, okay? And so I'm going to feed it through the origin. Do y'all know what I mean by that, 0, 0? I'm going to feed it through the origin, and it's almost like Willy Wonka or something. It's going to go in through that origin. It's going to pop out the other side, okay? And so this is going to come through right here and pop out. This is going to go through and pop out. This is going to go through and pop out. And y'all see how I just made an odd function? It's symmetric to the origin. And Margot may be the one that's, no, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was something about 180-degree turn. Oh, Jillian. And so it's like it is kind of like a rotation. But the easiest way to do it is to pull it through the origin and let it pop out the other side. An odd function, I'm sorry, this is so messy, so let me write it a little bit better. An odd function is symmetric to the origin. And it's all about opposites. You should be able to remember that with all those O's. All right, Susan, do you remember your question?
Yeah. It was like I didn't really know what the origin is, but I think
0,
it
0.
was answered. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the cross.
Yeah, it's just like the little target there in the middle. 0, 0. Okay. Yana?
So an odd function, you're always just going to like take the positive points and make them negative. Is that
No, not necessarily. I tend to draw things a lot in that what we call first quadrant, but I could have something like this. And if I make that odd, what I would do, I've got to pull everything through the origin. And so it's going to go in the opposite quadrant. Girls, look. Whatever's in the first quadrant is going to go into the third quadrant. Do y'all know the quadrant?
Yeah.
Whatever's in the fourth quadrant is going to go into the second quadrant. So it's not about positives and negatives. It's about opposites, okay? I'm sorry, I said that wrong. It's not about positives becoming negatives. It could be about negatives becoming positives. And it's about X and Y switching around, okay? Their signs. So this is what I would do to do this. Bailey, do you have a question? You need to go to the bathroom in the
No, I have a
nurse? Or okay, question?
You said odd function, symmetric, origin, opposite.
Mm-hmm.
No, just add opposites.
Oh, I'm telling you like how to get it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, an odd function is symmetric to the origin is its definition. But just to help you, they're opposites, another O word.
Okay.
All right, so let's get some points on here. By the way, before we start, what's the opposite of 0?
0.
0. So you can't really take the negative of 0, right? Okay, so this point right here is 1, 0. What is its opposite? 1, 0 would be negative 1, negative 0, but that's just negative 1, 0. Okay? Would y'all say this point might be 2, 1? What's its complete opposite? Negative 2, negative 1. Okay? This point might be 3, I guess we'll call it 1.5. 3, 1.5. Its complete opposite is negative 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 1.5. Do you see I'm taking all the opposites? Okay. Now let's take this point. This point looks like maybe 1/2, negative 2. What's its complete opposite? Negative 1/2, positive 2. So do you see while this one went right and down, I'm going back and up. And I'm going to draw this picture. And that's an odd function right there. All right, so watch this in purple. Did this dot go through the origin machine and pop out the other side? Did this dot way down here go through the origin machine and pop out the other side? Okay? So let's practice with points. I think that'll help you. So Yana, we'll just lead right into that. If I have a function that you can't even see, and if it's even, something will happen, and if it's odd, something will happen. Okay? If the point is negative 1, 4. If it's even, the point is going to be negative 1, negative. I said that wrong. If it's even, the point is going to be 1, 4. Even. If it's even, here's a picture. Negative 1, 4. Negative 1, 4.
Yes.
The even one would be positive 1, 4.
Oh,
Do y'all see how I just put the two eyes across from each other?
Yeah.
I mean, I called them eyes on the cat the other day, okay? So let's pause for a minute. If it's even, watch my hands. I teach a lot with visuals, and a whole lot of y'all finding are visual learners. So I wish that people had shown me that much visual instead of giving me all this jargon, definitions, and junk. I mean, I wave my hands in the air a lot during even and odd. Even is about this. I went this way and I went this way and I got the same thing. I went this way and I went this way and I got the same thing. I went this way and I got the same thing. I went this way and I got the same like looking teeth, okay? Do y'all see what I mean? Corners of my mouth, okay? So you go out, the X's can be opposites of each other. I hate to use the word opposite right now because I really want to reserve that for odd. But I can go to positive X or negative X, but what should happen? Shouldn't I get the same Y? All right, so even, if my body is the Y-axis, you see even would be evenly distributed this way, okay? So if I hold my arm out here and it's even, I'm going to hold my arm out here. If I hold my arm right here, I'm going to hold my arm right here. If I hold my arm right here, I'm going to hold my arm right here. Kind of doing a dance. I better stop. All right? Do y'all see that? Okay, odd is like this. I go this way, and they're not the same. I go opposites, and I don't get the same. I go opposites and I get opposites. Do y'all see what I mean there? So if I want to do odd and I go here and here, I'm going to have to go here and down. Okay? And it lands in the opposite quadrant. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Start over. So I go out and up, out and down. Opposite quadrants. Okay? All right, so what'll happen? Oh, Bailey, did you have a question? Should I?
Yeah, can you just look at this and tell me if this is an even function?
Yeah.
That's an even function, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, so it's even. If I go out 3 and up 5, I should be able to go back 3 and up 5. If I go out 2 and down 7, I should go back 2 and down 7. What's the only number that's changing here, the x or the y? The x. If I go out 15 and down 2, I better be able to go back 15 and what? Down 2. Watch my hands again, okay? It's all about this. I can do this x or this x, but what needs to happen? The y's need to be the same. If I go 5 and negative 5, they both need to land at like 3 or negative 7 or whatever. So do you see how you can go both directions, but you better get the same answers? Okay? Now what's going to happen with odd, they are total opposites. So this would not be negative 1, 4. It would be positive 1, negative 4. Right, Daniela? Great. This one would not be 3, 5. It would be negative 3, negative 5. This one would not be 2, negative 7. It would be negative 2, positive 7. Total opposites. Okay? This would not be 15, negative 2. It would be negative 15, positive 2. Let's graph these two in purple. I go out 15 and I go down 2. I'm doing this one right here in red. So I'm going to go out 15, 5, 10, 15, and I'm going to go down 2. Okay? Now in red, I'm going to go back 15, 5, 10, 15, and I'm going to go down 2. Would you agree that's the beginnings of an even graph?
Yes.
Okay? Now we're going to do in green these two. Okay? If it's odd, this will happen. If it's even, the red will happen. If it's odd, the green will happen. Okay, so green, now I'm going to turn this dot green. Are y'all okay with that? It's got to go through the function machine, through the origin machine, and pop out the other side. Do y'all see that? Okay?
Yes.
Now, did we make that happen with this point? Negative 15. What 2? Positive 2. Did I do it?
Yes.
Did y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay? So that's why thank you for asking that. Because on even, technically the x's are opposites. But what's the difference in odd? Why do I really call odd opposites? Because they're total 100% opposites. And that's why I was going to do this anyway, but it kind of led me into it. It's not necessarily about changing positives into negatives. If they're negatives, you might want to change them into positives. Okay? All right, so let's look at your worksheet real quickly, and then we'll move on. Let me pull up the worksheet. All right, your answers to the first... if you all have your homework out. The answer to A was even. B was neither. This is so take notes, please. You'll have this to study for the test. B, like we talked about so much lately, B has definite symmetry. It was over here. But could I say it's symmetric to the y-axis or the origin? That one's neither. It's a beautifully, perfectly fine function. Okay? Neither, most people are neither. Most graphs are neither. But if it's even, I'd like to know it. It makes my life easier. Okay? The next one, C, I said odd. All right, C looked like this. cute little thing. Okay, look better on your paper. But if I go out 1, up 1, then did I go down 1, down 1? Do y'all see what I mean?
Yeah.
This one is pulled through the origin machine and pops out the other side. Are y'all all okay on odd there?
Yes.
Okay, it's opposing quadrants. Do you see this lump that went high?
Yes.
Then I should have a lump that goes low. They're opposites, okay? All right. Number 4, I said was odd. Number 4, do y'all see this lump right there? I'm sorry, I'm not sure a math teacher called that a lump, but anyway. So I don't see that there. That would be even, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right, I see this lump. Oh, I see it down here. And I see this negative lump. Where do you see it on the other side? Positive. Do y'all see how that's an odd function? All right, hang on just a minute. I'll get to you, Susan. If I go out and down, should I go back and up? Opposite. Susan?
Oh, I didn't really see how that was an odd function. Like, I don't know, to me it looks like on both sides.
Okay, D would look like this if it was even. Like our faces or our arms, okay? Odd, my arms would look like this. Do you see what I mean? Okay.
Oh, I heard you say.
So if this was even, Susan, I've seen you draw them and you're great at it. So if this was even, then this exact same thing would happen over there.
Yeah, it's like
Except for it's doing this instead. So do you see how this is pulled through over here? Okay? Does that help?
What I figured out the trick was like if you want to figure out even.
Oh, listen, this is going to be good. I can tell.
And you like if you
Oh,
grab
yeah.
a piece of paper and you fold it like that, if both lines if both of them touch, then that means that's even. So then if you did D and you did like that, they wouldn't touch because like this one's going up and this one's going down. So
I thought you were going to say the rotation thing.
No, but if you do this one, like if you look at it like that, they both touch at the same time because they're exactly the same.
I think you can rotate your paper.
Then the day that has half the cost.
The
of
pro-
like,
If you want to fold your test, that's fine, but Maria's exactly what I've been trying to say. It's like if I could fold my face over my nose, my eyes should meet like this. I think we can rotate the paper for odd, though.
Oh, I just have a question.
Go ahead.
Does it have to touch the y-axis?
Does not. Great question. It does not have to touch the y-axis. Bailey brought up something like super good the other day where I did one that wasn't even a function. And I went down and told the math department about Bailey. I'm like, I drew something like this, trying to teach even, odd, and neither, and then Bailey realized that they shared that point. So anyway, Margot, it could look like this. Okay, I could have something out here. And there's lots of graphs that kind of they're not defined everywhere. So Margot, let's try to draw this one odd, okay? Even I think is a whole lot easier. I could probably freehand this one and make it even. All right, but if I want to make it odd, I struggle with that. So I have to use points. And so I would kind of think to myself, this looks sort of like out 1, up 3. I'm just estimating. So if it's odd, I should go back 1 and down 3. So I'm going to go back 1 and down 1, 2, 3. This one might be at 2, 4. And so I'm going to go back 2, down 4. And I start to be able to draw that little hump. See how this one's going down? Opposite, it should be going up. And while this one's going up, the other one should be going down. So that one's odd, like I just did. But it doesn't have to touch the origin. Okay? C is even. Are y'all okay with that? And F was odd. Is everybody okay with that? Okay? Now, quickly, this is what yours should look like on 2, and let me know if you need more direction. Number 2, because this is what you'll be studying for the quiz. Your quiz, study 2 and 3 on this worksheet, okay? No. Oh, I don't know. Who knows? I always have too much planned for one day. You'd think after 100 years of doing this that I would stop doing that. I always have more stuff planned than I ever can get to. But we have that extra day built in. So one day we'll do the Paris quiz. Don't know if it's going to happen today. And today you will definitely not have a quiz on even, odd, and neither. Okay? The pairs quiz that probably won't happen again today, but it might. The pairs quiz would be on the analyze the graph where you answered all those questions underneath that big picture. Okay? Don't worry about it until I get to it. If I don't get to it, it's not going to happen. Yeah, Yana?
So I was just wondering, so I just don't understand like if it doesn't touch or go through the origin, how can that still be odd or would it have to be neither? Right?
The origin doesn't matter at all. Lots and lots of graphs don't go through the origin. People in your past have made way too big a deal about the origin. When you were born, you do not weigh 0, 0. You weigh 0.7 or something, okay? When I started a salary, thank God I didn't make 0, 0. And I wasn't 0 when I started working. I was 21, okay? So my salary would start out at 21 and up at the pitiful amount of money I made the first year, okay? Which is so pitiful I won't even say the number. You would not believe it if I told you. I can't believe it. But anyway, thought life was grand. Yana, people have made too big a deal about the origin in your past.
Okay.
It's just you just know where 0, 0 is. You don't have to be there yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
But that's a very common misconception. I got really carried away on the second one. I went way up in the air. All right, so number two, over to the right, where I had this one that bent this way, it should be bending this way. So that's the second graph on number 2. Are y'all okay with that? Most of you had it. A whole lot of people, a few people missed the next one. All right, on the next one, it went like this. Okay?
Yeah.
So if it's even, I got to be able, Maria said, to fold it and put it like this.
Yes.
All right? Once again, I want to make the point that if I'm going out 3 and down 1, shouldn't this go back 3 but still do the same thing? If it's opposites, it'll go back 3 and it won't do the same thing. It'll go back 3 and do the different thing. Okay? Now, lots of you got this right and a few of you missed it. See this lump? Okay? I'm sorry, this graph stopped on domain. All right? So to make this even, I go this direction and go up. I should go the same direction and go up. You get that little lump right there. I don't know where I'm getting the word lump today. And then it does that. But it should look exactly the same, like Maria said. You should be able to fold it over on top of itself. Some of y'all just sort of left out that other lump. And so a lot of you are making corrections. Please correct your test. Your homework. All right, the next one. Now I'm going to do them all odd. I'm going to stay on this screen. Are y'all ready? So this is number 3. All right, Danielle, I think yours were all right on the... Oh, yeah, I know yours are all right. Okay. Hey, girls, listen up carefully. Some of you got this down pat. Some of you may be nervous about the little quiz that doesn't count for much on Monday, but quizzes always help us get ready for tests. If you want to come by the Math Center, like after school or sometime Monday or Tuesday morning, I can give you little pieces of a picture and you can complete it, and we can just see if you've got it, okay? Or you can make some at home and send me an email picture of it and say, did I do these right? Yana, let me keep going for now, but please don't forget your question. Okay, so now this is number 3. What happens if these pictures are part of an odd graph? So what happened on your homeworks, Maria?
It goes in circles.
Oh, you're answering. Okay, go ahead.
It goes down.
Opposite, okay? So if you go out and up, you should go back and down, okay? Oh, what I was going to say is what happened on this homework is I only gave you part of the graph and you were to complete it. All right, so the next one across started at 2, 0 and angled off this way. And so I should, if it's odd, I don't want to angle off this way, do I? Okay? I want to do the opposite. So Maria, like you were saying, well, that one's going above the axis. This one should go below the axis. Okay? The next one, Yana happened to touch the origin, but I don't care. Okay? It's below, so what should its opposite be? Above. Okay? And then the last one was the hardest one. The little lump is above. So on the other side, if it was even, the little lump would be above. But it's odd, so where should the little lump be? Below. And while this one is below, where should its opposite be? Above, and it was a little bit higher. Okay? Y'all okay? I hope you're okay with that. And if you could practice these if you want. I was going to say I don't need to send you a blank one. You can just go back to previous assignment and print your own and try it. Or if you want me to, I can send you pictures. You can draw for me and send me back your answers, and we can check them over the weekend if you don't want to wait till Monday or Tuesday, okay? Now, we are going to do this. So take one and pass it around so everybody gets one. We still are not at the Paris quiz. We may never, when you're in 10th grade, you might finally get to the Paris quiz. But that's very common for me. I have all these grand plans that usually don't come to fruition. But Ella, it will happen one day. One day it will happen. It may not be till Thursday. Put the date at the top of it. Some of y'all have gotten ultra organized. But if you need a date at the top, you just received this on November 15th. All right, and the first blank. Okay, I'm going to explain this in just a minute. In the first blank, a function is an even function if f of x equals f of negative x. I know that might blow your mind. I can remember my Algebra 2 teacher, Miss Hosh, coming into the room and saying this to us in the first few minutes of class. But while I'm talking, write that in the first blank on your sheet. A function is even. A function is an even function if f of x equals f of negative x for all x in the domain. Okay?
A function is even what?
Oh, well, the words are all there for you. You got it? Thanks. Okay, Victoire?
Yeah.
Okay. Girls, Miss Hosh came into my 9th grade Algebra 2 class and said, well, really, I had it as a junior because of how my school is structured, but anyway. She came in and said, if f of x equals f of negative x, it's an even function. If f of negative x equals negative f of x, it's an odd function. I'm taking notes like crazy. I have no idea what she's saying. Okay? So I started y'all with pictures so that you would really see it, so that when I finally got to the real math of it, you would understand it. Now watch this. I would not have wanted my sweet daughter-in-law Robin, to go to the doctor last night because her throat hurt so bad. And for the doctor to say, oh, your throat is so red, you must feel really horrible. Let me give you some Advil and you can go on home. Or I really wouldn't want the doctor to say, your throat is really red, I think you have strep, so here's a shot. Okay? Which I would want if I had strep because it hurts and you feel better. I mean, we all don't want the shot, but it's kind of nice if you've ever gotten one because you feel better so fast. What would I wanted the doctor to do for my daughter-in-law? I don't want to go, oh, your throat's really red, let me give you some Advil. Or your throat's really red, let me give you a shot. What do we want her to do?
Like give her a strep test.
Please test it and see. Yeah, is that what you're going to say? All right. So watch this. We can't just go by looks anymore. Isn't that what you've been doing? With even, odd, and neither? Okay. So I don't even know how to get rid of those arrows I drew when I was in notebook. Hang on. See if I can pull up the eraser. now, if I go back. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, just ignore all of this down here. What would you say both of these graphs are? Even. Are y'all with, everybody with me? Forward. Well, you just missed one of them. Okay? You just said, you look like you have step 3. Here's a shot. All right? You're just going by looks. You just looked at my throat. You didn't give me a test at all. Look at this table of the blue one. Look at the blue one. Somebody went out back, that's your back, isn't it? Back 2 and got 3. Then they went right 2 and they got 3. They went out 5 and got 54, 24. They went back 5 and got 24. If it's even, what should happen if I put in 10 and negative 10? Should it matter which way I go? If I put in 0.5 and negative 0.5, should it matter which way I go if it's indeed even? Do y'all see what I mean? We have a dilemma though. It's physically impossible to check every point, it seems. Couldn't one all of a sudden mess it up and I'd be, it's not even. I just thought it was. So far so good, okay? So I'll explain it, but do y'all see my point here? I'm going out and up. Watch my hands. To you, I believe this is f of x. Is that x and this negative x? Sure. Okay. However, what if this is x, then what would this be? Negative x, right? They're just opposites. Okay? That could be tricky, Bailey, and I was trying to be tricky then, so thanks for participating. If x is 5, what is the opposite of x? But what if x is already negative 7? So do you see negative x could be positive? What does negative x mean? It's not telling you have a negative, it's telling you to go the other direction. Okay? If x is, wait a minute. If x is negative 8, what is negative x? It's the negative of negative 8, which is positive 8. So all that means is if x is going backwards, the opposite of x is going forwards. It's one of those things that math teachers do, like I said about the origin, that's not very helpful to you later. It's really bad of us to call it x and negative x. Because doesn't that make you think you've got a positive and a negative number? Yeah. I really should be calling it x and the opposite of x. Do y'all see the difference? The negative in front of that x just means I'm going to take the opposite. Okay, so that was a lot. But you needed to know that. But watch my arms, okay? Is this x and negative x, whichever way they go?
Yes.
All right? If this one's x, this is its opposite. If this one's x, this is its opposite. It shouldn't matter if I go this way or this way. If it's even, shouldn't I get the exact same result every time? Hang on just a minute, y'all. Please keep listening, okay? Look at what you just wrote on your paper. On your paper, you just wrote this. This is the test. This is the test for even. It's just like the strep test that they ran on my daughter-in-law last night, okay? This is trying to find out that it doesn't matter if you go one direction or the other, your result is going to be equal. Now, what is f of 3? If it's 8, what should f of negative 3 be? Shouldn't it also be 8? Look at Olaf's eyes. Okay? If I go out and up, I should go back and up. Do y'all see what I mean? So this is a way for a math teacher to talk about it. That means I don't care what number, girls listen. I don't care which direction you go in. You should get the exact same result. Shh. Thank you. As I'm going, shh, okay? What should happen if I do f of 5 and f of negative 5 if it's even? Nobody knows? What should happen? Bailey?
Get the same answer.
Okay? What should happen if I go f of negative 9 and f of 9 if it's even? Is that a good way for me to say it?
Yes.
So what if I go f of 100.2 and f of negative 100.2? If it's indeed even, those should be the same. So what should happen if I go this direction and this direction? For any point you pick out in the whole wide world, if it's even, what should happen? They should be the same. Okay? All right, now, Daniela?
Wouldn't it be the same y?
That's what this says. F of x is another word for y. Remember, that's my answer.
Oh.
F of x is another word for y. Different x's, same y. Thank you. That may be what, I don't call on you before I went back to her, but another word for f of x is y. Okay, watch this. If I have to point 3, 6, what is f of 3? 6. Do y'all see what I mean? So this is your x, this is your y. It's all that notation we worked on before the last test. So when I say f of 3, I don't want 3, I want the answer to f of 3, which is the y value. That's very perceptive. Y'all have great questions. Yana, do you still have a question?
Oh yeah, no. Like I was wondering the same thing about the y and like the result.
Watch this. Good question. Those are x's. If I could write clearly, these are x's. What are these?
Y's.
Those are the answers. Those are the y's. If I fill x into the function, I get an answer. And the answer should be the same. This is deep stuff. It takes a while. Somebody over there had their hand up. Still have a question?
No, it's just about this, but I'll
About what we just wrote or something coming?
this.
You mean the sheet you're holding? Okay. All right. Now, underneath that in the next, girls, listen. Shh. It's at the right side of the equation of an even function does not change if x is replaced with negative x. That says when I'm waving my hands in the air. If you change this number to this number, the y value does not change. It stays the same. It's symmetric. Okay? You don't have to write anything down, but the next thing I want you to write, even functions are symmetric with respect to the what? Y-axis. Write the words y-axis in the second blank under even. Okay? Now let's go to odd. We're almost finished with this. Obviously, we're not going to have a quiz. By the way, you still will, and I'll put it in assignments. Always check assignments. You will have like the drawing quiz, okay, where you're drawing pictures. If it's odd, what should happen if I do f of negative 2 and f of positive 2? They should not be the same. They should be opposite, so that's why my teacher said this funny notation to me. F of negative 2 should be the opposite of f of 2. It doesn't mean necessarily this one's negative, but it just means it's the opposite of what you had. Let me show you what that means. Here's negative 2. I fill it into the function, and I get an answer, a y. Well, then if I go to positive 2, should I get the same number or should I get its opposite? Shouldn't I get that? All right, watch my hands, and this is what this is saying. Well, let's practice a couple more before we go on. If it was even, I would do this. They're not even. I'm sorry, I'm talking about odd right now. So they should be opposites of each other.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at this, this is opposite x's and opposite answers. Opposite, opposite, opposite. Opposite answer, opposite x's give you opposite y's. Everything about it's opposite. So in the blank, I want you to write this. Oh, by the way, before we do that, sorry, we need to go. But I want to practice a couple of points. -1, 3, if it's odd, should become what? +1, -3. Okay? So in that blank, you're going to write f of negative x equals the opposite of f of x. All that is this dance right here. Opposite x's, opposite y's. Opposite x's, opposite
I'm
y's.
gonna get you some compounds one day.
Oh, I have one downstairs. You just need another one. Whoa! In the last blank, you're going to write origin. Symmetric to the origin. And then you'll do part of this worksheet.
Are you gonna post what?
Yes, and you'll have to read what part. Girls, please look up here as I'm going to trust you to do this. I forgot the most important part of today. So I tell you what, everybody pause and I will hurry. But Gabby, is that you talking? Watch. Look at this one. If I go to -2 and +2 and run our new test on it to see if you have strep, that couldn't be even. Do y'all see that? I went opposite x's. Did I get the same y? So I sort of tricked you with my picture. The test really tells you. The red one's not even. Do y'all see how I went opposite x's? What should have happened? Same y's. Okay? So we'll pick up here. You don't have to be a pro at it yet. We just need to get those notes in. One day we'll have a Pierce quiz. Bye.
Just wondering, I might be.
I'm going to save this while you're
I
talking.
might be opposite.
Oh, well, you moved ahead?
So is this